Hey everyone, my name is Andre, and earlier this year I spent a few weeks traveling Japan with my brother. We had a great time touring Tokyo and Kyoto, but we knew we wanted to spend our last day in Kyoto doing something extra special. We're both huge fans of the anime Sound Euphonium, it's my favorite anime of all time, so we wanted to try hunting down some of the real-life locations from the show set in Uji City just south of Kyoto, and we filmed the whole experience so we could bring you all along. We're going to be taking you on a tour to the settings of some of the most famous scenes in the anime, while also talking a little bit about the culture of anime pilgrimages, the charm of the city of Uji, and of course, what makes Sound Euphonium such a special show. For those who don't know, Sound Euphonium, or Hibike Euphonium in Japanese, is a novel series by author Ayano Takeda that was adapted into a hit anime starting in 2015 by Kyoto Animation. It's a school life drama about the fictional Kitauji High School Wind Ensemble and follows the coming-of-age story of freshman euphonium player Kumiko Omae. So far, there are 2 TV seasons covering her first year, 2 recap films, 2 movies and an OVA for year 2, and an upcoming 3rd TV season covering Kumiko's final year in high school. But today we'll be focusing mainly on scenes from season 1.
Come on, join us!
So here's today's itinerary. We start our day bright and early at JR Kyoto Station at the heart of Kyoto City, the former capital of Japan. Then we'll take the train south and stop at a few stations in the northern part of Uji City until we finally make our way to Uji's downtown area, where we'll find the bulk of the most important locations from the show. I brought along a deck of printed Sound Euphonium screenshots so we could try to match them up on camera to the real-life locations. But first, welcome to Kyoto Station. We'll take these escalators up a few floors to get to our first location. In Season 2, Episode 7, the Kitauji Wind Ensemble performs a public concert right here in the station building, which makes sense if they want to draw a large crowd considering there is a lot of people traffic at Kyoto Station. Not only because it's a major train station, but also because it has an extensive shopping and dining mall. And here is the first screenshot. But before I reveal what the real life spot looks like, we're actually going to rewind the tape to the day before this. Because actually, when I said this was our first location, that was kind of a lie, because we actually started our Sound Euphonium pilgrimage a day earlier, with one major stop, Kyoto Tower. As the tallest building in the city, it is complete with an observation deck offering a 360-degree panoramic view at the top, as well as a hotel at its base. Kyoto Tower is a centerpiece of the city of Kyoto, but to be clear, it doesn't actually show up in Sound Euphonium. The reason we're visiting is because every year since 2021, they've done an official UFO collaboration campaign. And as soon as we entered the lobby of the hotel, we were already greeted with signs and decorations advertising that very collab. Even the tickets for the observation deck have Sound Euphonium characters on them. We took the elevator up to the deck to check out the view. There, we found these virtual map screens with information on what you could see out the windows. Unfortunately, the day we went, it was raining, so we didn't exactly have the greatest view. But on one screen, they were playing the teaser trailer for the upcoming Sound Euphonium anime projects. And actually, when this video comes out, the brand new OVA Sound Euphonium Ensemble contest will have just recently played in Japanese theaters. Anyway, that of course wasn't all there was to the Kyoto Tower UFO collab. Dotted around the premises were Sound Euphonium and Wind Ensemble themed decorations and posters. It's funny, most of the other tourists who were there just to see the view probably had no idea what any of this was. Wonder what they thought.
何ですか? これ.
On the floor just below the observation deck, they had a souvenir shop selling exclusive UFO merch. Apart from the recently opened up KyoAni pop-up store in Kyoto Station, I believe this is the only physical location where you can find official Sound Euphonium goods for sale in Japan. They also had a row of customizable souvenir coin machines with Sound Euphonium coin designs. Check out my recent Japan haul video to see everything I picked up here. But the most special part of the Kyoto Tower Sound Euphonium collab was the exhibit area, which featured posters and screenshots from every season of the show and the films, along with life-size cutouts of the characters to take pictures with. Weirdly, this exhibit area was kinda hidden in a back corridor, so it was easy to miss. Sound Euphonium fans, make sure not to skip the Kyoto Tower collab and do be sure to find this exhibit. Also, if you're up for it, the Kyoto Tower Hotel has UFO-themed rooms you can actually book. maybe next time. But in any case, let's get back to Kyoto Station and reveal that first screenshot. And ta-da! It looks just like it does in the anime. Even the weird red sculpture is the same. Now that is some attention to detail. And on the opposite side is the largest flight of steps you'll probably ever see in a train station. This place is also really beautiful at night as the steps light up in different patterns and images. But anyway, the next location awaits, so let's get moving. Our first train ride of the day will take us from JR Kyoto Station to JR Rokujizo Station in North Uji, where we'll find our next UFO location after a short walk. And since we have some time till we arrive, I'll take this opportunity to talk about why I love Sound Euphonium so much. Enough to travel halfway across the world for it. Well, let's start more general and then narrow down to some personal points later. First up, it's simply a beautiful show. Produced by the world-class Kyoto Animation and their team of in-house animators, with character designs by the late Shoko Ikeda, art direction by Mutsuo Shinohara, and series direction by Tatsuya Ishihara and Naoko Yamada, Sound Euphonium sets a high watermark for all slice-of-life anime to aspire to. It has wonderfully nuanced character animation from the comedic scenes to the dramatic scenes, a cast with over 60 unique character designs including the background characters, background art with an attention to detail that of course makes finding the real-life locations possible, and a cinematic quality to its direction that is still unmatched by most other school-life anime. Not to mention the incredible musical scores by Akito Matsuda and Kensuke Ushio, which not only fuel the emotions in every scene, but also cleverly delineate instrumentally between the in-universe woodwind and brass music and the string and piano forward non-diegetic OST.
その話どれくらい続くの?
Okay. Before I get carried away, let's get to our next location. From JR Rokujizo Station, we'll walk to our next stop, Keihan Rokujizo Station. Okay, if you're confused, I don't blame you. The Kyoto area for some reason has two separate train lines, Japan Railway or JR and Keihan Railway. Both lines have stops at many of the same places, just a few blocks apart, so it can get a little confusing when you're looking for a specific station. Again, we took the train from JR Kyoto Station to JR Rokujizo Station, and now we're walking to Keihan Rokujizo Station. This is the station that Kumiko, Hazuki, and Sapphire usually walk to on their way home from school. We see it multiple times throughout the show, but it's most prominently featured in Season 1, Episode 1. Here's a screenshot from the episode, and here is the real place. This feels like a good time to talk a little bit about the culture around anime tourism. Of course, all around the world, tourists travel to places associated with their favorite TV shows, films, and other media. But the specific activity we're engaging in today is called an anime pilgrimage, or in Japanese, Seichi Junrei, which literally translates to sacred place pilgrimage. And you can probably guess, but the sacred places, or seichi, of an anime pilgrimage are the real-life locations that anime tourists, or pilgrims, will visit because they were featured in a favorite anime of theirs. Another name for seichi is butai, meaning setting or stage. In the act of hunting down butai to say, compare them to exact screenshots from an anime like we're doing, is called butai tanbo. Alright, that's enough info for now. We got a long day ahead of us with lots more butai to visit. Since we're here, we'll hop on the train at Keihan Rokujizo Station and head over to Keihan Kowata Station, where we'll find screenshot number 3's location along with something else very special. By the way, from here onwards, we'll be exclusively traveling on Keihan Railway. Another reason why I love Sound Euphonium is, of course, the story. Great presentation can only get you so far. Many shows have high-quality visuals and or music these days, but Sound Euphonium has the quality writing to back it up. The story, adapted for the screen by anime screenwriter Juki Hanada, really drills down into the nuances of life on a high school club or team and the oppressive drama and politics that can pervade it. It explores the complicated nature of junior-senior relations and how individual feelings, ambitions, and obligations can compete with the goals of the group. But it's also naturally about friendship, camaraderie, and teamwork, and the complexities of those things. Kumiko's story in particular is about finding your passion, learning to love your work, and the frustration you feel when you know you could be better. I relate to those experiences as I think we all can.
私、特別になりたいの。上手くなりたい。悔しくて死にそう。
When we get off at Keihan Kowata Station, we walk a short distance toward JR Kohata Station, where we pass by arguably the most important location of the day, Kyoto Animation Studios, head office, and Kohata building. This is where the Sound Euphonium anime was made. But not just that, obviously. KyoAni is also responsible for such hit anime like A Silent Voice, Violet Evergarden, Hyoka, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and Free. Oh, and my fellow 2000s kids will no doubt remember KyoAni for such cult hits as The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star, Clannad, and of course, K-On!, the show that almost single-handedly kicked off the modern-day moe and cute girls doing cute things anime craze. And it's pretty cool to be standing right where all these shows and more were created. Now, Kyoto Animation's location in Uji City, Kyoto Prefecture is important to note. They are far, far away from the hustle and bustle of Tokyo, where almost all of Japan's major animation studios are located. This is the main reason KyoAni has been able to cultivate its identity as an independent boutique studio, even within the niche of Japanese animation. They famously champion women's voices and young talent. They're also far removed from the crunch-driven, down-to-the-wire work culture of their Tokyo peers, as they regularly complete production on their shows months ahead of release. And considering KyoAni's high level of quality and consistency with all their works, they're a perfect model for what's possible when artists and workers are trusted and treated fairly. And out of respect for those workers, as well as the suburb's nearby residents, we decided not to take too many videos or photos here. And in general, if you guys decide to go on anime pilgrimages or do a little butai tanbo yourselves, please be wary of causing meiwaku, or disturbances, in residential neighborhoods, near private roads, or around local businesses. If you want to take photos or videos inside a business, please ask for permission first. Some people in Japan have soured on anime tourists, even Japanese ones, because of this issue. By the way, KyoAni's Kohata building actually used to be the location of the official KyoAni & Do shop, one of the only places in the world where you could buy official merchandise for their anime, which was closed in 2020 to be converted into another studio building. But you can see they still use the window displays to show off their upcoming projects. If you still want to buy KyoAni goods, by the way, they recently opened their online store for international delivery. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, there's a new temporary pop-up at Kyoto Station. A few blocks away from where we were is this McDonald's, no doubt a favorite stop for hungry KyoAni staff. Similarly, it is featured in Sound Euphonium as an after-school hangout spot called Fast Burger. But now we'll head back to Keihan Kowata Station, snap a few pics of these old UFO-themed KyoAni shop ads on the station platform, and jump on a train to Keihan Obaku Station. There, we'll visit two other after-school hangout spots from the show and get a snack from one of them. Our first spot, right by Obaku Station, is a local bakery called Nakaji Bakery. While it looks a little different in the show, this is the place that makes Shuichi's favorite after-school snack, which we also see Hazuki give a try in one episode. This hot dog bun on a stick looking thing. And okay, one thing I want to say before we go in is that in a lot of cases, Japan has fully embraced using anime to promote tourism. We've seen hints of it already throughout our morning, but even local businesses will sometimes embrace anime tourism. And now that I set that up, here is Nakaji Bakery's epic Sound Euphonium display in front of their most popular product, the Frank Danish. And yes, I did get permission to record video inside their store. In fact, when I went up to the counter to pay for my Frank Danish and asked for permission to film, I barely got out a sumimasen before the cashier interrupted with shashin wa daijoubu desu. So yeah, they are totally used to Sound Euphonium fans. Alright, let's give this a try. Frank Danish that Shuichi and Hazuki eat. Okay. That's a hot dog and a croissant with ketchup. The hot dog was fresh and the croissant was super nice and crispy, which made for a very tasty combo, so I definitely recommend it. They of course have a bunch of other bread products as well, sweet and savory, and the ones we tried were all great, so if you ever have a chance, please give Nakaji Bakery a visit. On our walk to the next after-school hangout spot, we encountered a Tobidashi Sapphire. In Japan, these Tobidashi Boya, or Run Out Boy, signs originally created in the 70s, were placed around streets to caution drivers of kids crossing the road. Nowadays, you'll see Tobidashi Boya with all kinds of different custom designs like this one. In fact, a few days before this, we saw some Tobidashi signs in Kyoto themed after characters from a different KyoAni show, Tamako Market. And this sapphire won't be the last UFO or KyoAni themed Tobidashi sign we'll see today. Anyway, this is going to be a long walk to the next place, so let's keep moving. On our way to 7-Eleven. Oh, actually I see it right now. 7-Eleven where the characters usually stop by after school. They usually get the instrument kun gacha here. And here we are, screenshot number 4 revealed. So, like I said, in the show, the main characters often like to stop by here on their way home from school. Now, the real life school that the one in the anime is based on is actually just another 10-minute walk from the 7-Eleven. But since it's a weekday morning, it's the middle of the school year, we obviously won't be going there today. So we're gonna walk back to Keihan Obaku Station to take our last train of the day to downtown Uji, where the remaining 11 Sound Euphonium Butai will be visiting, yes, 11, will be walking distance from each other. On a personal note, Sound Euphonium is also deeply relatable to me because I was a band kid. Just like Kumiko, I participated in my school's concert bands and wind ensembles from 4th grade all the way to the end of high school, where I was also in the marching band. And while those 9 years of playing clarinet in band were filled with ups and downs, I look back on that experience as a whole with fondness and gratitude, partially because of Sound Euphonium. This is probably obvious, but one of the best parts of being in a band was getting to see dozens of disparate musicians coming together to perform music as one whole. Hearing how every part clicks together, how the different instruments sync up and have back and forths, how the woodwinds, brass, and percussion parts layer together to create a sound that none of them can create on their own. For one brief moment in time, all that matters is the music, and everyone is focused on that singular goal, with all their baggage left at the door. And Sound Euphonium captures that experience and all the other details, big and small, of band life perfectly. From the overbearing stress of auditions, to the intimate group vibes of sectionals, to the rigors of marching practice, to the anxious atmosphere of competition days, to the visceral rush of happiness, relief, or disappointment when results are announced. Even though I'm coming into this Japanese show with my American experience, it still resonates with me. Alright, looks like we're finally arriving at Keihan Uji Station. In the show, this is Kumiko's stop before she walks the rest of the way home. And while Reina typically commutes via bicycle, when she does take the train home, this is also her stop. So here's screenshot number 5 with Kumiko and Reina in Keihan Uji Station. And right on the heels of that, we have screenshot number 6, which is just outside the station building. At the end of Season 1, Episode 12, Kumiko and Reina meet up at night here in front of the Visitor Center. By the way, in this Visitor Center we found a poster for a Sound Euphonium Ensemble contest. And just over here is the location of another important Kumiko and Reina scene. Screenshot number 7, Season 1, Episode 5, this is the first time they ever walked home together. And if you cross the crosswalk, as they do in the episode, it's also the location of one of the most GIFed shots in Kyoto animation history.
お前さんらしいね。
Speaking of history, this scene actually takes place in front of a pretty historic building. Tea lovers, this is the shop of a company called Tsuen Tea, said to be one of, if not the oldest, tea shops still operating in Japan. And that's not unbelievable because Uji is internationally famous for its high-quality matcha, the powdered Japanese green tea loved the world over. Just look at any matcha product anywhere, even in the US, from matcha lattes to matcha cookies, and 9 times out of 10 it is branded as Uji matcha. And wouldn't you know it, matcha is genuinely everywhere in Uji. You will find matcha drinks, matcha flavored desserts, matcha souvenirs, and even matcha infused ramen. The official city mascot is also appropriately matcha themed. Meet Chacha Okoku no Oji-chama, aka the Tea Prince of TT Kingdom. He has matcha green hair and even wears a matcha whisk crown. But back to Sound Euphonium. I know we're suddenly on rapid fire here, but at pretty much the exact same spot where we also have the setting of one of my favorite sequences in the whole show. Season 1, Episode 12, this is the scene when Kumiko runs across Uji Bridge in a fit of frustration declaring that she wants to be better. Let's talk about this location. So, perhaps the #1 defining natural landmark of the city of Uji is the Uji River, which runs right down the middle of the city, splitting it in two. Uji Bridge crosses the river at the city's center. When Kumiko runs across this bridge in the episode, she stops at one of these posts and breaks down. Here is the screenshot from the anime, and here is the real thing. If you're feeling inspired, I challenge you to come to this spot, follow in Kumiko's footsteps, and yell, or whatever else your heart desires. Alright, and once you cross the bridge from Keihan Uji Station, you might see a familiar clock tower. This clock tower is featured in the opening animation for Season 1. But let's move on to the next butai from the show, and that's this restaurant.
So once we cross the bridge, you get to Ortensa, or as it's known in the real world, Caesarea.
The popular Italian chain restaurant in Japan where you can get everything from black squidding spaghetti to 100 yen wine. This particular Caesarea serves as another after-school meetup spot throughout the show and the movies, especially when the characters need to have a serious discussion. But now, moving on to screenshot number 10, just a few blocks down the street from Caesarea is JR Uji Station. In Season 1, Episode 8, Sapphire and Hazuki meet up here on the night of the Agata Matsuri, which by the way is a real-life summer festival that takes place in Uji every June on the street leading to the Agata Shrine, which we'll be visiting later. And not only was this Hazuki and Sapphire's meeting spot, it was also the meeting spot for me and my study abroad classmates in 2019. The final, very personal reason that I became so invested in Sound Euphonium is because it reminds me of my short study abroad experience in Kyoto in the summer of 2019, where I did a homestay for 3.5 weeks. It was an incredible experience, and by pure happenstance, my class's daily rendezvous point was here at JR Uji Station. So I ended up spending a lot of time in downtown Uji then, and getting to know the setting of Sound Euphonium really well, which inevitably brought me closer to it in a way that's totally different than any other show or movie I've ever watched. Some of the footage I recorded from 2019 made it into this video, which I'm sure you noticed. That experience, of course, also helped me plan out today's itinerary. And speaking of which, it's just about noon, so I think it's time for lunch. And I know just the place. Since we mentioned it earlier, why don't we go to the matcha ramen shop? To get there, we'll first cross the street from the station and walk down Ujibashi Street, which is lined with small local businesses. There's a bakery, a grocery store, a toy shop, a hair salon, and some hole-in-the-wall izakayas and restaurants. If you want an authentic, local, non-touristy experience in downtown Uji, I definitely recommend exploring this street. Plus, for Sound Euphonium fans, there are at least 3 UFO Tobidashi signs here. We spotted one for Yuko, one for Hazuki with her Frank Danish, and one for the Floof herself. Oh, and we also found one for all you Dragon Maid fans. Now, I don't know if this is all a San Euphonium Tobirashi signs in Uji. You'd think there would be a Reina one and maybe a Natsuki one to pair with Yuko, but we didn't spot any more on this trip. Once we get to the end of Ujibashi Street, we'll pass by this Torii Gate at the entrance to Agatadori Street and make a stop at Uji Bridge again to see the statue of Lady Murasaki Shikibu. Because another interesting thing about Uji, it isn't just the setting of Sound Euphonium, it's also the setting of the final chapters of the Tale of Genji, or Genji Monogatari, the first novel ever written in the world by this very woman. So yes, even before Sound Euphonium, even before anime ever existed, since the dawn of whenever this novel came out, pilgrims have been visiting Uji to express their love for their favorite work of fiction. If you're a fan of classic Japanese literature, be sure to check out the Tale of Genji Museum in the city as well. Alright, why don't we get lunch? Let's walk up Byodoin Omotesando Street to Ramen Tanakamaru. Byodoin Omotesando is a beautiful stone-paved street with lots of nice shops and also is pretty much a tourist trap because it's the street leading up to the Byodoin Temple, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and also the thing on the back of the 10 yen coin. While most of Uji is rather quiet and peaceful, this is one of the few spots in the city that can get crowded. We won't be visiting the temple today, but if you're looking for souvenirs, tea, snacks, or even Starbucks, you'll find plenty on this street. And as you'd expect from a restaurant located in a tourist trap, the prices for the ramen and Ramen Tanakamaru are kind of high for Japan. Of course, it's still much cheaper than any decent ramen you'd find in the States, so oh well. The main gimmick here is of course that the ramen noodles are infused with matcha, so they're green-ish. To be honest, they really didn't taste any different from normal ramen noodles, but hey, I knew it was mainly just a gimmick, and good ramen is good ramen. As soon as we stepped out of the restaurant after lunch, we immediately spot another ensemble contest poster in the wild. Okay, next stop, Agata Shrine. In the Agata Matsuri episode of Sound Euphonium, we see Asuka, Haruka, and Kaori stopping by to pray at this very shrine.
オーディションうまくいきますように。
そんなのお祈りしてもうまくはならないよ。それは
And this feels like the perfect opportunity to talk about shrine etiquette in Japan. First up, before you enter a Japanese Shinto shrine, it's good to first bow before the Torii Gate. Then, when you walk through, be careful not to walk straight down the middle of the path as that is where kami or gods go. Next, look for the Temizuya water station to purify yourself before you pray. Using the ladle, first rinse your left hand, then your right hand, then ladle some water in your left hand again to rinse out your mouth. Finally, when you approach the shrine proper to pray, first throw some coins into the saisen, or offering box. 5 yen or 50 yen coins, the ones with a hole down the middle, are supposedly the luckiest. Then, if there is a bell, ring the bell. To pray, first bow twice, then clap twice, and on the second clap, hold your hands together, close your eyes, and begin praying. And when you're done, bow once more before you leave. Bow twice, clap twice, bow once. Finally, when exiting a shrine, once you've stepped outside the Torii Gate, turn around, facing the shrine again, bow, then leave. Seems like a lot to remember, right? The good news is these rules aren't extremely strict or anything. There's no one watching you to make sure you do every last step. It's fine if you skip steps or you forget some, as even native Japanese people don't do every step every time. Just do your best, and above all, be respectful.
そうなんですね。
Oh yeah, one thing you might find at a lot of shrines is a display of wooden plaques with wishes written on them. These are called ema. The idea is that visitors can purchase a blank ema and write a prayer or a wish, and when you hang them up at the shrine, the gods will receive them. And we were pleasantly surprised by this ema we saw hanging at Agata Shrine, evidently drawn by a fellow Sound Euphonium fan. Or could it be an undercover KyoAni employee? Next to the adorable drawing of Yuko, the message reads, "I can't wait for the 3rd year arc." Alright, let's get a move on to the next butai, and it's one of the most iconic ones from the series. But first, UFO fans, please don't forget to check out the Uji City Tourist Information Center by the river, because in it, they have a big display of Sound Euphonium posters, theater standees, and other memorabilia. On one small table, they have a notebook where visiting UFO fans can leave messages and doodles. This is what we wrote. Ayano Takeda herself also left a message here. take a walk from the Tourist Information Center towards Byodo-in Temple. And that's when we see it, a lone bench, positioned off the pedestrian pathway along the river, next to some kind of drainage pump building. This is Kumiko's bench. In the anime, this is her favorite spot to spend a quiet moment with herself, or sometimes to practice her euphonium after school. In real life, it's only a few dozen meters away from Byodo-in Temple, so it's probably not recommended to practice any instruments here. The bench is also much taller in real life than it appears in the anime, or perhaps the dirt foundation has eroded or something. Either way, all I know is that I'm 5'7", Kumiko is canonically 5'4", and my feet do not touch the ground when I sit here. By the way, here's the view from the bench. We need to get to the other side of the Uji River, so we'll cross over Tachibana Bridge to the man-made Tachibana Island, then cross over the brilliant red Asagiri Bridge. Here we are greeted by the crimson torii gate of the Uji Jinja, or Uji Shrine. Screenshot number 12. In Season 1, Episode 1, Taki-sensei stops by here to pray. Kumiko and Reina also meet up here in Episode 8 on the night of the Agata Matsuri. But before we enter the shrine, we're going to walk a little further down to the Uji Jinja Funatsukiba, or wharf. Screenshot number 13. From Season 1, Episode 4, this is where Reina catches Shuichi and Kumiko bad-mouthing Taki-sensei by the river after school.
何か言った？
Unfortunately, the path was blocked off, so we couldn't get to where they were sitting in this scene. But here's what it looked like in 2019. Okay, let's get in one more screenshot before we have to walk 30 minutes to the final butai of the day. Once we pass through the torii gate of Uji Shrine, we find this Temizuya. In Season 1, Episode 7, Kumiko and Shuichi use this as a temporary shelter from the rain. It has a very unique rabbit fountain that also features in the anime, and an illustration explaining how to purify your hands, which I talked about earlier. After walking through Uji Shrine, if you continue to follow the path up, you'll run into yet another shrine, Ujigami Shrine, or Uji Upper Shrine. In the anime, Reina tells Kumiko that between Uji Shrine and Ujigami Shrine, she prefers Ujigami because of its more mature vibe.
どっちが好き？え？さっきの神社とこっちの神社。私はこっちの方が好き。渋くて大人な感じがする。わかんない？
In reality, Ujigami Shrine is indeed older than Uji Shrine, and not only that, it is believed to be the oldest shrine standing in the country. If you didn't already realize, we are currently walking the same path that Kumiko and Reina do in this episode. And so, following them, we take the Sawarabi no Michi path to the entrance of the Mount Daikichiyama hiking trail.
どこ行くの？大吉山登るの。なんで？なんとなく。
Our last stop is of course the place where love was found and where Kumiko and Reina truly bonded for the first time. The observation deck of Mount Daikichiyama. Which sounds like it would be a long way up, but it's actually just a 20-ish minute hike that rewards you at the end with a truly breathtaking view of the city of Uji, so it's the perfect place to end our trip. I know it's not quite over yet, but I want to take this time to thank all of you watching this video. This is probably one of the most niche topics I've ever covered, and I don't expect it to get many views, but honestly, this is probably my favorite video I've ever made on this channel. From capturing footage, to writing the script, to editing it all together, this has been such a delight, and I look forward to doing something like this again someday. This is my first time making any kind of travel vlog type thing, so there's definitely room for improvement, I know, but hopefully I was able to convey my passion for sound euphonium, my love for the city of Uji, and how going on a trip like this can bring you closer to your favorite show, as well as its real-life setting. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and perhaps are now inspired to plan your own pilgrimages. And without any further ado, here we are. Screenshot number 15. Alright, it's been a long, tiring, hot day, and I want some ice cream.
ハッピーアイスクリーム
After a long trek back to the center of the city, we stopped by Tsuan Tea again to get some refreshing matcha ice cream and some powdered matcha tea to bring back home to the US. We also spotted another ensemble contest poster. And after chilling around the city for a while, we grabbed dinner at Caesarea, and of course we had to try their black squidding spaghetti and their 100 yen wine. Now, this could be unrelated, but later that night our stomachs were not happy with us. I regret nothing. Anyway, after dinner, we took the train back to our hotel near Kyoto Station from JR Uji Station and got ready for our long trip back home to the States the following morning. Hey, it's Andre back in the US. Thanks again so much for tagging along with us on our San Euphonium pilgrimage. I'm going to leave a couple links down below for you guys. One is my custom Google Maps map, which labels every spot we visited in this video, throughout this video, in case you want to plan a similar trip. And the other links will be to other people's Euphonium pilgrimages, blog posts, and video blogs, many of which helped me plan this trip. But other than that, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you feel like it. I do have 2 other videos based on my Japan trip on the channel. One of them is a haul video, the other one is a video where I talk about all the Japanese phrases and stuff that you will need if you want to travel Japan as a tourist. But yeah, I don't know what my next video will be or when it'll be out, but until then, have an awesome day.
北内高校吹奏楽部部長の大前久美子です。意外と照れるな。いいですから。よろしくお願いします。
そして、次の曲が始まるのです。